Hi everyone, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching me from. I'm back again with another video. My apologies, it has been hectic and for the delay. I know I've been waiting for this part of this video, so let me continue from the previous video. So as I had said that when I'm falling in love with a person, right, and actually all those things are wrong. They are wrong, but I'll explain why I'm saying they're wrong. I'll mentally prepare my mind and everything, and if I'm saying yes to this person, which means it's forever, so I have to prepare my mind. Yeah, like everything, my whole being must accept and agree with this person's shortcomings and etc of that person, right? So I went through that for, I think it was a week or so. Actually, it was a month and over, because it was the December time, the whole period of him trying to pursue me, to convince me. And now I started asking him questions because I was concerned about the few things. So I wanted to know more about him, and I started asking him, so okay, what happened in your marriage? What happened? How did you get to this point? And then he says, during COVID, that period when he wasn't visiting the family, the wife had a boyfriend. So how he got to know about it was that the nanny of the house, the nun of the house was seeing the man coming in, spending nights, etc. And then there was this faithful day, or unfortunate day, I don't know how to describe it, when the man of the man, the boyfriend to this woman, the pastor's wife, left with the house keys, and then the nanny came home. So when she asked for the keys, the pastor's wife, gave the boyfriend's number to the nanny, and then the nanny saw the profile picture on the boyfriend's WhatsApp, and then she took a screenshot, sent it to the pastor, and told him, this is what has been happening at your house, da 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 da. And that's how he got to know about it. And now they had to ask the church elders to go and speak to the woman, the pastor's wife, and yeah, that's how things happened. That's how he found himself in that situation. So I said, oh, okay, that's sad. Of course, for me, I felt really sad. How can someone treat the other person like that, and I said I had love for him as my pastor and my leader. So fast forward, I also asked, okay, but now since this situation has come in, how are you divorced? What is happening? Is the woman still using your surname? What is the story? So he says, we have started the process, but in their country where they got married officially, the process of divorce. So and then I asked again, is she using your surname? And then he said, no, at this point she's not using my surname anymore. Then now I asked about the children. So how many children do you have? Then he said he had 3. So 3, his first marriage, he now started explaining his first marriage. He was married at a very, very young age, and then he had 2 girls with this woman, but unfortunately the woman apparently was into witchcraft, and then they separated. He had to run away from the marriage. Then he was just alone while he was taking care of the kids, and then he married the second wife, who in his own statement committed adultery, right? So now he has 3 kids with different mothers. Did he choose to be in that situation? According to him, no. And then so for me now, I started asking myself, do I want to be involved in this? Because here there's a foundation that has already been established in the first 2 kids. I asked how old they were. and there is also a foundation of the other one, the third one. So I asked myself so many questions around raising kids, and I also want to have my own children. And I told him that I also want to have my own children. Then he responded to say, I actually don't have a limit, like a number of children that I want to have, because I don't have a son yet. I said, oh, all right. And then I'm still battling with this thing of having children in the house, that are, oh, do I want to get involved? Because I was born from a place where my mom did not. My mom came into a marriage not without a child. My dad came into the marriage without a child. But however, I later learned, after like in my 20s, that's when I learned that my dad had a child before he married my mom. I'm not sure if the child is alive or the child is dead. I don't know, but he was kind of in a relationship, and there was a child that came from that relationship, and it was a male. That's all I know. So yeah, so I grew up knowing that I was the first child, and this thing of yeah, that he was remember, at this point I have spiritual knowledge. You can break generational cases and patterns. So I kind of observed a pattern. So I asked about a little bit about his background, and then I observed a certain pattern of his life. Hence, he also found himself in that situation with the children. So, and now it was a question of, do I want to continue with this kind of setup? Because the moment I meet up with this man, like sexually, part of his blood enters me, and that's obvious in marriage. And then the certain characteristics or habits or traits will continue. There is a lot of prayer it has to take, and yeah, a lot of deliverance. So it's a lot of work, and do I want to be part of it? It was a debate. I struggled with that for a really long time. And yeah, we kept on having those conversations, and we'll talk about it, and I'll withdraw a little bit just to go into a place of thoughts, processing, and everything. In our conversation, I would withdraw. So eventually, I remember one of we used to be on calls for a long time, especially in the night. We would talk for a very long time, even like 5 hours. We would just on the phone talking. So I remember I asked him, because this person, remember, was a pastor. He wasn't working, he was depending on the church. I knew a little bit about not a little bit, much bit, not better than him, but I almost had information close to what he knew, like at that level. I was informed he wasn't working, he had no business, he had it was just ministry, and depending on church money to come in. So I was concerned about that. I was like, oh, imagine if I get married to such a person and we are depending on church money, which means my income is the one that has to settle everything, you understand, of which I didn't mind, but I was worried for how long that would be, because we are having expenses almost every month that needs to settle. Even right now, personally, as just me as Elizabeth, I have my own expenses that I need to do to settle every month. So I started asking him, but how do your children survive? And then he said, God provides for them. I know it is a good answer, which I understand. God provides for everyone, but however, it's not realistic. It's a correct answer, but it's not a realistic, because it's not factual. Yes, God provides, but God provides for people who work hard. So, and then because I was coming from a place, remember, I was in the Bloemfontein. I saw where he sleeps, where he like the whole setup of that house was completely not a place a human being can stay. And it was just, I don't know. Yeah, literally, I just don't know. So I advised him, since he had knowledge in construction, rather he opens a business, and then one of the people that he knew, that we both knew and he trusted, was going to manage it. right? And then he just becomes a director, whereby he spends time with God. So then he tells me that God told him that he mustn't listen to people telling him what to do. Okay, even his sister had given us a certain advice prior to me, but not in the same line. So he also told the sister that God told me that people mustn't be giving me advice, of which it's understandable, but I was just being realistic, you know what, because there's nothing. We come to, yes, you're pursuing me, you want me, but there should be something happening there, you know. So fast forward, in those conversations it was kind of tense, and then he tried to convince me, you know. Then there was a guy I was eyeing that time, and I really loved the guy. There is not a pastor, I was eyeing that guy, and we were in connection. So I now had to ask him a final question to say, what is the way forward? We were not dating, but we were in communication, and we both liked each other and enjoyed each other's company, wanted to be together. But then he said, no, me, I can't do distance relationship. I said, okay, that's fine. I was hurt, yes, but I said, then that's fine. Then that's the reason. And then in that moment, now he convinced me, the pastor convinced me, and then I accepted him. The moment I accepted him into my life, I felt disconnected. Like, you know, a string attached is something that just cut off. Like, I just didn't want him. I hated him. I didn't want his presence. I didn't want to hear his voice. I was just in anger. I wasn't feeling the relationship. I wasn't feeling his presence. It was just, I don't know, I just hated him. Like, I hated him. Even when he calls me sometimes, since him being a spiritual man, then God was using him. When he calls me, a video call, he'll look at me and he'll pick up, he'll know that she's not in a good space, and then he'll drop. And then after, and I was having dreams where one of his relation was chasing me in that dream, like chasing me, you know, and I was running for my life. And I told him about it. Then he said, oh, okay, I think this relation, he knew about that relation, the relative, and the relative was in darkness. So he said, okay, so which means that they've picked you up in the realms, in the spirit, that I'm pursuing you, and ta-da-da. But I was feeling off, absolutely off. Then I called it off. Then I just said, no, I can't do this. I told him, I said, I can't do this. So he called me, and then he tells me, are you sure you're saying you can't do this? I said, yes, I can't do this. I really can't. I can't. We have to call it off. And then we called it off. He cried. Wait, I went ahead of myself. So before that, I asked him a question. Before me accepting him, I asked him a question as well, which was, what is the procedure of marriage? So he says that since he's a man of God, at this point, we can be, since I was his PA now, we can be working together, like church stuff. When he travels to other cities, I can be going with him, and then I'll still remain as a PA, yet we are together. And where are we going to be staying? So I asked that question, and then he says, no, he'll be coming here over in Cape Town, and then also in Bloemfontein. If I get a chance, I go that side, right? And then I asked, how about the dowry? And then he says, no, the dowry, we can pay it later, but all we need is a blessing from both parents. So that one caught my attention. I remembered when he told me, when the other guy was pursuing me then, and I shared the information with him, he said, no, the guy must pay dowry before marrying you. But when it came to him, the story was kind of manipulated. So I was like, oh, all right. So as I said, I had accepted him, and then after feeling the way I was feeling, but if you might be asking yourself, so if I didn't feel like that, would I have still continued with the relationship? I would have continued with the relationship. Why? Because he had told me several times that God told him, I'm his wife. And I believed in this man of God. He helped me so much in so many things. I learned so many things. I learned so many things about God through him, and there so many things. I was seeing results. So I believed in his faith. I believed in his word. I believed in the things that he would say God has told him. So I stood on that word when he says that God had told him that I'm his wife. So I was going to continue, obviously, but let me not be a spoiler with the but. Yeah, so that was that. So now in the process of me calling it off, he felt rejected. He cried, yes, and had dreams of him crying, seeing like I started to see visions. I was seeing him in a different state, and I would tell him, and at the same time I'll feel bad. I'm like, I'm causing this pain on him, and then also after a week, I think he called me again. He asked me the last time, he said, are you sure you really don't want this? I said, no, I don't. In that time I even hate him more when that was now end of January of 2021. I'm even hating more and more. And he asked me again in February, are you sure you don't want? But now remember, at this point, a lot of things have shifted. Our relationship has shifted. It's no longer daughter and pastor. It's a lot has just shifted, definitely. So since I've called it off, now to go back into that default setting as it was in the beginning, it's absolutely difficult at this point. And we continue to communicate, even though he didn't want, because he was trying to detach from me. Since as we communicate, you emotionally connect, and it's something that develops. So he was now trying to detach. He would communicate with me about church, but then for me, I still wanted us to go into a mode of friend. So he didn't want that. Remember, also that was wise also for him, because that's how he was going to lose his respect. Even though I was that time, I thank God I was still mature enough. In as everything was happening, I maintained my respect when it comes to church meetings. I will still address him as the man of God, so that he's not disrespected. Even for him, he'll still address me as his doctor. So that was quite a smart that we both did without even agreeing, but it just worked out itself. So in the same process, I remember there was now a conference that he was planning to come to Cape Town, and so being part of the leadership team, I was also part of people who are going to organize and everything. Now this time around, I'm battling with the fact that he told me, that was after 2 or 3 weeks, no, after a month. I'm battling with the fact that he mentioned that I'm his wife. That's what God said. And I'm now thinking, what if I don't get married? What if God truly said this, he is my husband? So what is going to happen to me? Will I ever get married? I'm now battling with that, and now I'm thinking maybe he is the right man for me. And now I start going back to be not to pursue, but to now act, as let me not say as women, because not everyone does that. It was me now, to be the woman, right? To now be I was now picturing myself, I'm going to be the mother of the church. It's like everything now started sinking in. This was I think after 3 months. Everything started sinking in, settling, like I'm accepting, I'm agreeing, now I'm going to be the mother of the church, everything. Little did I know that he had already started pursuing someone that time. But yeah, I remember he told me that before, the last time he had asked me if I really do not want this. I said yes. He said, I'm not going to get anyone from the church anymore. I'll go outside, because this is the most important part. Because I'm going to fall. I'm a man of God, but I'm going to fall, and I don't want to fall. So in that time, I was very interested. I think I'm missing a lot of information, but thank God it keeps coming. There was a woman that was coming to, he used to stay with a certain male who was under his ministry. But there was a woman, amongst the church members, who would go to him, cook for him, wash for him, right? I knew that lady. And was it safe? It sounded like it was safe because the way he explained it. And then also, there were because it was a healing school, you understand, it was functioning as so people would now visit, but mostly it's women. So it was kind of funny, like there was just a funny feeling about it. And then he says, he told me that several times, that he's afraid he's going to fall, even if he wants to go out, because he hasn't had a woman for a long time, which I understand. He hasn't had a woman for a long time, so he needs a woman so that he mustn't fall, like he mustn't sin, etc. So in my mind, and I'm even thinking, I'm not even ready to have sex, even if I had gotten married, even I think I'm learning about sex as well. It's good, let me say it here, it's good to learn about sex if you planning to have it. If you are not planning to have it, it's also good to have information about it, so that you cannot be manipulated, you cannot be lied about, because that's how the way God created our bodies, he included that. But however, there are laws around it, or around a human ways of living, or even just nature. There are laws when to do what and when not to do what, you understand? So if you're a eunuch, which means there is also the way you're going to consecrate your body from that. There are people who, I just learned recently, that there are people that go to even doctors for them to remove the hormones, so that they should not have the sexual ages. So it's good to learn about sex, like have the knowledge, know what these terms mean, know when you react in a certain way, what does this mean, and you know how to overcome certain things, right? So going back to the story, so he continuously told me, yeah, I'm going to fall, so I need a woman. And I asked him, so, because me, I don't want to be pregnant. If I get married to you, I don't want to be pregnant immediately. Number one, I was looking at this person doesn't have anything on them. They are depending on God. I trust God, I love God, but that wasn't realistic. So what type of family planning is going to work? I asked that question, yeah. So then he says, what did he respond? I think he responded that we are going to use family planning, because I'm not sure if he said about condoms wouldn't work or something. I can't even remember, but I remember I asked that question, and I emphasized that I do not want to be pregnant, even in the first 2 years of marriage. I do not want to be pregnant, especially with him, So I remember everything that I'm talking about now that has come in, it was before I even accepted him. Yeah, and we are busy talking, organizing the place, and yeah, like we are organizing the venue, evangelizing, everything, but he's very distant and very cold. Cold on the messages is so cold. But I started seeing a funny behavior, like funny behavior of this man of God. Like to a point whereby, when you experience love from a person, and then at this point, you are experiencing hate. Like you don't exist. You are in the space, but you don't exist. That's how this man of God started treating me, and it was really bad. It was really, really bad. Very, very bad. We would be meeting. I'm given tasks, but it's like, when you are in a space, let me say we are 5 here, and then I have something, let me say it's a phone, and then instead of giving it to you, right, to the next person, to the right person I must give, then I give it to someone, and I say, you give that one, but that person is close to me, but I'll say, give that one. That was the kind of attitude. I don't know if I explained it right. That was the kind of attitude, energy he was having. And suddenly there was this woman now that was introduced. I think it's about 2 months. I think this was about April. Which one is April, May? Yes, around April. A woman that was introduced in the ministry, who he said was a leader from a certain nation, right? Who was a leader in the secular system, and then he was going to come and assist us how to maneuver around the ministry. But now the thing he did not understand or realize, that this person has got a business mindset, and this is a ministry, it's spiritual, it doesn't need whatever, my business, whatever that this person came with. So this person came with the energy, I'm going to do this, which is good to motivate. I actually liked her when she came. We had conversations a few times, and then because this person was new to my understanding, so I started giving them a little bit of background of what I've explained. Not necessarily the relationship part, that one I did not share it with her. But me being in Bloemfontein, seeing the nature of the condition of the house, I told her that, that place, it looks like a museum. Actually, that's the term that I used. It looks old and everything. And the other lady also, who was there, she also explained her part, how the condition of the house. Kanti, I didn't know that. Sorry, I used the word kanti, which means, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, so I didn't know that she is the man of God's girlfriend at that point, right? So whatever information she was getting from us, she was going to share it with the man of God. And it's not that we were gossiping the man of God or the ministry itself. We were sharing our own experience, which was a reality. And our plan was that we improve the place. So we are involving her so that she can be aware and give us ideas, or we can put ideas together and then see how it can work. So she now went with the information to the man of God. This one I was told later, everything you know about it. Later, after months, that I went there to go and gossip the man of God, right? Anyway, so the man of God came over to Cape Town for the event. In the process, while we were trying to organize a lot of things, and I was preparing, in that time myself, now I'm like, okay, since he said God said I'm his wife, so now when he comes, he must see me again and try to pursue me again. This was me right now, because of the word, those words he's told me, that God told me you're my wife. Now that's when I started believing in them, acknowledging them, and everything like that. So I was like, yeah, he must you must come and see that now I'm a mama of the church, so I tried to organize things, and I knew the condition and the state of this man of God. I bought him toiletries, I prepared toiletries, like just toiletries and stuff. And I think someone also offered to pay for his place of stay. The church had no money. Like, this is not a joke. We need to help ministries that are living where God is living in that ministry, because this church had no money and it was bad. The transport for the man of God, he had to use a bus. Where he was staying, someone offered to pay for it. But is now the food. How is the man of God going to be eating? So we had to divide ourselves. Today is this person cooking, tomorrow it's me, the other day it's another person. I think he was here for 3 days. And then I didn't know that he was depending on offering for other things, the offering that people give during that, because we had paid. Remember, we have to secure the place. Everything was actually done from my account. Like, people would send money to my account, and then we pay the venue. So it was, I learned in the process of doing all those things. I was learning, and we secured the place. I think we did not pay in full, but eventually I think it was settled. We secured the place, and the man of God came. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over. The man of God came, and he went to see the place, and we now, I remember there was a day that I had to, as I said, we were sharing each day who's going to cook for him. Thank you, Lord. So the day, it was my day to cook for him. Obviously, I cooked and I put everything in lunch boxes, and that's how I lost my lunch boxes. I don't even know where they are, but it doesn't matter. I don't even care about them. So he came to the ministry, and his ex-wife came, the first one, with the 2 children. They're quite old. The first one then was I think 50, and the second one was 14. So he came, and obviously he's seeing someone else that time, which I did not even know, and he would make sure that woman is connecting during the services, in the name of, they put it online, but what he wanted was a woman to also connect, which was obviously, when you're in a relationship, it's normal to do. Come on. So then he started acknowledging his ex-wife, say, "Oh, you look nice, my children come, blah blah blah." So we finished the ministration, and then we went to a certain house, and when we went to a certain house, so one of the ladies had surprised him with a cake, and so he took that cake, gave it to his children, and I don't know what else happened. And then I wanted to meet him, to talk to him, but he did not give me an opportunity to talk, but because he knew that I was already seeing someone, and his past, he had said that, but he had said that when I'm done, I'm done. But it's like I was, sometimes we can be in denial with things. So I was kind of denial, and I was like, I want him to listen to me now. So I remember I went with him to a bus stop with the other person that he was with, and still did not give me a chance. So we didn't have time to talk. And I don't know we didn't have time to talk, but I was kind of heartbroken. And then eventually he got to Bloemfontein, and then I think we started messaging each other, though it was just church per usual. And then I think he had alerted the woman that this one, she's trying to get back to me. So I sent him a message. It was like, I want to come and visit Bloemfontein, but I want to bring stuff. What would you need? Then he forwarded the message to the woman instead of just telling me that, you know what, I'm seeing someone, so this cannot work. And that woman sends me funny messages, and I don't even understand. I don't even know why this person is getting these messages. And I asked him, he said, I can't speak to you. I'll call you tomorrow. The following day, he calls. No, he didn't call me. I called him, and when I called him, I told him, the Holy Spirit told me that what to say. And I had my own things. I was boiling that time because I felt kind of manipulated, even though I also played the wrong part, you know. But I felt kind of manipulated at that point. So I called him and I thanked him for everything. And then the things that he told me, he said his response was, sorry, I'm trying to remember. Not that I'm processing the hate. I'm healed long time. There's no need. But that's the reason I'm sharing this now, because it took years, obviously. Yeah. So I think he said continue trusting God or something like that, or men pure and holy or something. I can't even remember the exact word. So thereafter, I was hurting. Like, I was angry. I was very angry. I remember even that day I had a dream where I had knives in my hands. I was stabbing him on the chest. Stabbing. I was stabbing him on the chest, and I had a dream. That was around June, July. Well, in that dream, I still remember it. I climbed, it was like, a bunker bed. I climbed and I slept on top of the bunker bed. And then suddenly I saw him, this man of God, and another man of God. And then I heard a voice telling me that your contract has ended. And then I started vomiting. That was deliverance, but I did not understand. That was deliverance of my life from him, and he's in the ministry. So I had a dream, and then fast forward again, I had another dream. And in this dream, it was, I think it was an instruction of something that I needed to do, though I don't think I'll share it. Something that I needed to do, and I did it. And then I was still in the ministry, like participating, but I wasn't connecting with the man of God. I wasn't talking to him. I wasn't chatting with him. Like, it was just everything I was just seeing on the groups, everything had to be happening. And then I started feeling like I must leave, but I didn't know how. And then, because at this point, I'm not speaking to anyone about everything that I'm going through. No one, not even my family, knows about it, that even that thing happened that I just explained, where the man of God pursued me, none. Only that woman, the one who wasn't related to me, I would talk to her about this. And I had another friend that I spoke to, who doesn't know that person, the pastor, but they know me, and then they are married. And then she said, you know what, marriage is a mystery, but do not get married to someone who has been married before twice. I said, okay. And then I needed to speak to someone. So I remember I had to go to a certain church. It was a cell group. I was now looking for prophecy, so that I know if what I'm pursuing for, or what I was pursuing for, was correct or not. I went to that church. The man of God actually saw the spirit of death upon me, and he cancelled it, delivered me from it. Me, I'm waiting for the prophecy of marriage. And then he'd never mentioned all this until the service ended. And then I met him, I told him. Then he said, no, we need to talk. So we could talk in the week. He would encourage me. I think he was also praying for me because there was a strength that I developed within myself. Even though it was hard, I could not eat, I could not speak to anyone apart from these people that I've mentioned.